is a question that I have been sitting with for a long time now, and it is this. Is the way we're trying to create safety in our lives actually the very thing that is keeping us afraid? And we know fear is not conducive to a life that we long to live. Because so many of us believe that we're chasing security, like financial safety, relationship safety, and emotional safety. And maybe what we're really trying to chase is certainty. But if we're kind of honest with ourselves, a lot of what we call creating safety is actually running scared. Running into relationships because being alone feels really unsafe. Running into commitments because uncertainty feels unsafe, holding on to jobs, holding on to identities or dynamics. I see this a lot with the people I work with because the unknown feels really unsafe. Maybe we grip money tighter because we feel that safer, or we chase it harder because scarcity feels unsafe. And yet internally we're anxious and we're bracing, or we might be feeling really hypervigilant over the functioning and the flow of our lives. And we're constantly scanning for what could go wrong. I know I do. So today I want to explore this paradox with you. And what if the pursuit of external safety is actually the thing keeping us in fear? And what if true safety was never something we were meant to earn, secure, or control, but something we were actually just meant to embody? For me, this question is so important now as we are in the year of the fire horse. As you would have heard in last week's episode of the podcast, this year is about saying yes to what feels right for us and to not miss opportunities. And missing opportunities often comes from fear or chasing security and predictability. So I want to explore how to overcome this, especially now in this energetic climate that I'm sure we all want to use to our best advantage. I mean, why on earth wouldn't we? All right, so let's talk about maybe the truth about safety in relation to our childhood. When you watch a child who feels safe, something becomes very clear very quickly. They don't wake up thinking, how do I secure my safety today? They don't hustle for belonging, and they don't perform to be loved. They don't try to predict the outcome of things that they're doing or experiencing. They move through the world with this unspoken knowing. It is not my job to keep myself safe. The world holds me. Now, of course, not all of us experienced that consistently, and that matters. But what is fascinating to me is that safety is not something that a child cognitively constructs. It's an inner state they hold. Safety at its core is the nervous system resting in trust. And when that trust within is disrupted early, we don't stop needing safety, we just start to outsource it. And I think that's also a part of just growing up. So we look for safety in people. We look for safety in money or in plans, or safety in certainty, safety in approval, safety in staying small, safety in staying agreeable. And the older we get, I think the more we do this is where we seek our safety. And then without realizing it, our life becomes this series of fear-based negotiations, not authentic expression and joy. So we have to learn how craving safety is actually making us run away from what we want and not towards it. Because here's the part that can be kind of uncomfortable to sit with. I find it uncomfortable. When safety isn't internal, every decision becomes urgent. We rush relationships because, like, what if this is my chance? What if I lose the one? Or we overcommit, like, what if I miss out? Or we stay too long in connections because, like, what if I can't do better? Isn't it better than being alone? So when we say yes, when our body says no, it's not a recipe for abundance and joy. Because what if saying no costs me something? This is not intuition. This is not alignment. This is fear dressed up as practicality. And fear always wants immediacy. Fear wants answers now. It wants guarantees. It wants relief now. So it pushes us towards decisions that soothe anxiety, not decisions that honor our truth, however uncomfortable and inconvenient. And the cost of that is obviously enormous, because the more we override ourselves in the name of safety, the less we trust ourselves. And the less we trust ourselves, the more unsafe the world feels. It becomes this loop that we are trapped in. So here's something that's a little bit inconvenient to all of that loop, and that is something we might just need to sit with and accept, is that external safety is always conditional. Money can be lost, relationships can change, jobs can end, plans can collapse. So when safety lives outside of you, your nervous system is consistently waiting for the next threat. And this is why people who have everything, so to speak, can feel deeply unsafe, because safety that depends on circumstance is never stable. I know I have felt this way, and I love facing this to come out of it, because I know internal safety is different. Internal safety sounds like I know who I am. I trust how I move. I can be with discomfort without abandoning myself. I can adapt. I can feel. I can choose again. That kind of safety doesn't remove challenge. Life is going to be challenging. We're not here to remove that. It removes the panic. Integrity is, I think, one of the most overlooked foundations of security with self. Not moral integrity, not perfection, but relational integrity with yourself, which is why I am constantly on a mission to promote and cultivate and help people build that relationship with self. Because inner security is built when you know what you like and you know what you don't. You know your strengths. You know your limits. You acknowledge where you are still healing as a portal of empowerment, not punishment. You stop forcing growth where it doesn't belong, and you stop betraying your body for approval. And every time you listen to yourself and respond with knowledge, your nervous system learns, I can rely on me. And reliance creates safety. This is why people who are deeply self-connected move differently. They're not rushed. They're not desperate. They're not easily pulled off their center. Not because their life is any easier than your life, but because they're not abandoning themselves to survive it. It's something I went deeply into in 2025 to cultivate this, because I was sick of abandoning myself to survive. I was ready to know, love, and support myself in facing all the joys and the challenges that life has to offer. Because a lot of what we call safety in our lives that we've cultivated is actually control. Control over outcomes, control over timing, control over how others feel about us. But control is a fear coping mechanism. Safety is trust. Control says, okay, if I manage everything perfectly, nothing bad will happen. Oh my gosh, I've run my life like that for so long. Safety, though, says, even if something difficult happens, I will be with myself through it. One of those is exhausting, the other one is regulating. And you can move to the regulating one, because I did last year. And my life is in such a state of divine flow because of it. Challenging? Sure. Nourishing? Yeah. Because when safety lives inside you, decisions change. You don't choose faster, you choose cleaner. You don't chase, you discern. You don't grip to things, you respond. You can pause. You can wait. And you can feel uncertainty without rushing to escape it. And this is where I truly believe aligned choices come from, the only place that they can come from. Because truth speaks quietly, and you can only hear it when you are not in survival mode. So let me share with you some tried and tested by myself practical ways to cultivate inner safety. and why this matters more than ever. It matters because we're living in a world that monetizes fear. It sells us uncertainty and it rewards urgency and it normalizes anxiety. We need to be really honest about that. So choosing internal safety is really radical. It means you stop letting fear dictate your timeline. It means you stop making fear-based commitments. It means you stop confusing relief with alignment. And most importantly, it means your life stops being a reaction and starts being a relationship with yourself. Actually, I think that's enough to digest. I'm going to share with you the tips and tricks of how to do this in the next episode. So tune in next week where I'm going to give you some really practical applications of this. For sitting with this thought for a week, I think is going to be really helpful. So I'm going to leave you instead with this question. What decisions in your life were made to feel safe? And what might be possible if safety came from within instead? Because when safety is innate, you do not run, you do not cling, and you do not, most importantly, betray yourself. You choose from truth, and truth will always lead you home. It will always lead you to alignment, which is the birthplace of authentic peace and joy. And that is obviously my prayer for you. So tune in next week where I'm going to dive into some practical exercises and applications of how to do this. But for now, I invite you with an open heart and a curious mind to sit with maybe how the chasing of safety is so fear-driven and to know that there is an alternative. Thanks for joining me on today's episode.